Later, her family found nothing except her bones. I'm sorry. According to recent UNIFEM survey, 65% of the 50,000 widows in Kabul see suicide the only option to get rid of their miseries and dissolution. And that majority of Afghan women are victims of mental and sexual violences. The crimes and brutalities of fundamentalist warlords are still going on even under the nose of the US and eyes of troops. Northern Alliance gunmen raped 14-year-old Fatima and her mother, 11-year-old Rahima, and 60-year-old grandmother. A land where 30-year-old Amina was stoned to death, where Nadia Anjuman easily became victim of her husband's violence because he is sure that he has the support of the warlords of the misogynist Northern Alliance. We are 11-year-old Sanaubar, the only daughter of an unfortunate widow, is abducted, raped, and then exchanged with a dog by warlords. A land where human dignity has no price and killing someone is as easy and normal as killing a bird. Under the Taliban, the vice and virtue department become a notorious symbol of arbitrary abuses, particularly against Afghan women and girls. But today, Afghan cabinet once again decided to reestablish this dreadful department instead of focusing on more acute needs of Afghan society. In a country which needs much reconstruction efforts, 40% of its workforce is unemployed, and a gross majority is living below the poverty line. Afghanistan stands 125th out of the 127 countries of the UN Human Development Index. This is happening in a country that has received $12 billion, while another $10 billion more have been pledged. But this money will mainly fill the pockets of warlords to better suppress our nation more severely. The so-called freedom of speech in Afghanistan is another joke with our people. US-based Committee to Protect Journalists in a statement stated last year, Afghan journalists are facing severe pressure from the Afghan authorities, including threats, intimidation, even imprisonment, and murder. Let me describe my own recent experience. In early February this year, on the passage of infamous bill for amnesty of war criminals in the parliament, I had an interview with a local TV channel. They had interviewed some other people, including Sayaf, who is a wanted criminal and a member of the parliament. The TV broadcasted the advertisement of the program a number of times, in which they showed some parts of my interview, after which Sayaf himself calls the TV station and threatened them that if Joya's interview is broadcasted, the consequences will be dangerous for the director. So they resort to censorship and exclude me from the program. And this is not the first time that I am being censored in the media. Many journalists are too afraid to report my comments. Those who speak for justice are threatened by death. On May 7, 2006, I was physically attacked by pro-warlords and drug lords MPs in the parliament just for speaking the truth crimes of the Northern Alliance. One of them even shouted, "Prostitute, take and rape her." President Hamid Karzai, instead of relying on people to bring the criminal warlords to trial, appoints these criminals to higher posts. Due to his criminal fostering policies, people of Afghanistan hate him as someone equally responsible for the current catastrophe. Even CIA admitted in its report recently that he has lost people's support and has no control out of Kabul. It's due to the tragic situation in Afghanistan that returning to Afghanistan is an unattractive option for the 4 million registered Afghan refugees living in Iran and Pakistan. Afghan government is perhaps the most corrupt and unpopular in the world. The UN Security Council mission to Afghanistan recently announced that if serious steps are not taken, Afghanistan will become a failed state. Dear friends, the US government keeps promising not to repeat its past mistakes in supporting the fundamentalists. But agonizing truth is that USA is committing the same mistake. She is generously supporting the fundamentalist warlords more than ever. The USA is relying on Northern Alliance, who turned Afghanistan into a hell from 92 to 96, and still is a great threat to the stability and peace in my country. Katie Guinan, an expert in Afghanistan, justly stated that the USA is not interested in peace in Afghanistan. The people who kill thousands, who patronize the drug businesses, are in charge of the country. Afghanistan, all justice-loving people in international human rights organizations are demanding the trial of warlords and former pro-Moscow puppets, but they are not brought to justice, but rather shamelessly were offered higher positions and were given opportunity to find their way into the parliament with the support of US and its allies. The US government puts Gulbuddin Hekmatyar in the list of the most wanted terrorists, but his party has 34 members of the parliament, which was elected in an undemocratic and fraudulent election. USA can work with pro-American fundamentalists, but oppose only anti-American fundamentalists. This is the reason that people make mockery of the war on terror. The parliamentary election itself was a shame to democracy, while the Western media called it a great success. According to Human Rights Watch, the parliament is packed with more than 20% elements accused of war crimes, including members of Russian puppet regime, drug dealers, Taliban, and Northern Alliance killers. Dear friends, the USA is not concerned with the main cause behind terrorism in Afghanistan. That's why our people don't consider the US as liberator of our country. Even they have killed thousands of our innocent civilians during its so-called war on terror and continue to target civilians. Hope you have realized from the small parts of problems that just I shared with you, that my country is still in chains of bloody and terrorist fundamentalists. The situation in Afghanistan and conditions of its ill-fated women will never change positively as long as the warlords are not disarmed and both the pro-US and anti-US terrorists are removed from the political scene of Afghanistan.